Hi, Megan Jane here with Crave Wholeness Health Empowerment Coaching. Today I am going to share with you a little something different. Normally I give you some insights and information, some recipes and tips about health and wellness and how to lose weight, right? But that's all well and good. I love helping people one-on-one reach their goals and achieve their desires, but what I find to be more important and more motivating to me in my journey and motivating for my clients as well is teaching them to really care about food from a personal standpoint and from a policy standpoint. So I want to talk a little bit today about food policy. And this was triggered by a movie that I watched last night called Farmageddon. It's part of a food documentary series that I've been holding at my home right here in this very living room every single month. We watch popular food documentaries like Food Inc., Dirt, King Corn, Forks Over Knives, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, you name it. And it's a really great way to bring people together and get the conversation going around topics that really everybody should be informed about. And the question is, why aren't we getting informed about this? Why don't we know about the issues with food safety and food production that go on with big agribusiness? And why aren't we aware of the value in quality and cost effectiveness and efficiency and so many other benefits that you can get from buying food locally? We used to have a local food system, and we've moved over the past few decades to this huge agribusiness commercialized system, and there are a lot of implications, a lot of negative implications. So I won't go into all of them today, but the movie I saw last night really triggered this for me because it just talked about how the government essentially is going into these small farms, these privately owned farms that are doing private sale to their neighbors and to their customers and their co-op members of products like raw milk, for instance. And they are harassing these farmers. They are terrifying their children. They are watching them, keeping records on them. They are blacklisting them in their communities. And then finally, as a last resort, they're coming in with a somewhat faulty search warrant and then seizing their property, their equipment, their livestock. They're taking their livestock up, up north and slaughtering them. This is hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of product and inventory that these small family farms have worked for years to build. And they've done it in a legal way, in a safe way, and they've done it in support of their community, and their community is very supportive. So how do these federal agencies, and we're talking the FBI and SWAT teams, coming into these homes, holding families hostage, essentially? I mean, you have to watch this movie. It's just incredible. Video footage, court cases, all kinds of documentation. And why is this happening? Why are we not focusing our resources in the government on things like terrorism? I'm sure there's plenty going into that, but you see these millions of dollars and these man hours and the process that's going into terrorizing these small farms and making their life miserable for really no clear reason that I can come up with. And it just really makes you question where our priorities are as a country. Of course, people who are well versed in this type of thing, this comes as no surprise. We know that the government is in support of big agribusiness. I hate to say it, there are connections that you can read about on your own. You don't need me to tell you. They are in support of big agribusiness, and they are indirectly, therefore, finding ways through loopholes in laws to shut these small farms down. So one thing you can do is get yourself informed. Start watching these videos. I mean, they're really entertaining. And when you start thinking about these issues not just as a health food issue, but as a bigger systemic problem around money, it's very inefficient, truly, to operate these big agribusinesses. Our food costs are not any cheaper because of them, although they would have you believe that. And when you start to get informed, you start looking at that unhealthy, frozen, prepackaged, processed dinner as something totally different, not because a health coach told you that it's bad for you because of all the sodium, sugar, and chemicals and preservatives, but you look at it as bad for you because you see what went into that. You see that there was no care there. There was only profit. People with big dollar signs for eyes. They've chalked it full of nutrient void stuff that's making us fat and very, very sick. And they know this and they don't care. I would much rather get my food from a local farmer or somebody who has put the integrity into the food. And that's what we need to do. We need to get the integrity back into our food. So this is not just an issue of personal responsibility in putting the right thing on your plate. This is an issue of, it's a bigger picture. So before I get too crazy on my soapbox, I just want to encourage you to get informed on your own. Start reading up on this stuff. Watch the documentaries. They're very entertaining, not only informative. And start thinking about food a little bit differently. I know that you will, and it'll change how you approach everything. So please, please continue this conversation. You can continue on my blog. Feel free to send me an email, even if you're just like, wow, this lady is crazy conspiracy theorist. I'd like to encourage you to just shoot me an email. I'd be happy to talk about it. Thanks for listening, and until next time, sending lots of health and love your way.